out in the barn working on my MH33, which isn't in the barn because it's over in the garage. Last video I put up, it was when we found the damage on that fender, all that rust through that had been repaired with Bondo and with fiberglass, and just, well, it wasn't. Well, that, right? This was part of the fender. That's the more complete part of the fender, and I cut that out. And then I decided to repair it. Whoop, see. So I've got this sheet of 16 gauge. I've had it for a long time. I just took the death wheel on the grinder and cut off some strips. You can actually, this one's here from the bottom because that's where it started to get a little away from me. I kept it nice and straight on top. Anyways, it doesn't really matter if you get it that straight because you're going to be welding it and grinding it, whatnot. I took that little piece and I stuck it in my vise with a piece of angle iron. And I measured it all out, and I worked really hard to get it all nice and level. And actually I didn't start in the middle. I started on the edge so I get a good clamp on the vise. Then I took my choice of a massaging device and I just started to bend it over. And I bent all those over. I gave myself enough lip on this side to be able to make that little curl you can see right there, to curl that around the rod that goes around the outside of the fender, and then just enough on the inside to take care of this part that I'd cut out. And then I just welded it in. I used my Millermatic 135. I've had that thing for, hold on, a long time. Like 20 years now that I think about it. And I started off with some flux core wire I had in there. Eventually I ran out of the flux core. I was almost out, and then I went back to the solid wire with the gas, and that made all the difference in the world in welding that in the fender. Well, let's just go to the video and I'll show you a little bit of the welding and what we got done. Should start shortly. I'm happy with that. All right, I'll clean that up. Truth is, guys, I'm tired of welding, blowing through, grinding, welding, blowing through, and grinding. I think I've got it though. I think I'm going to be happy with what I have here. It'll take a couple extra layers of primer and then I'll just sand that down to get the best finish that I can. And I think it's going to be all right. So it's not perfect. I've got some voids in here. A little bit of primer that I'll sand down flush. But we have two much more complete panels than we did before. I think this will end up looking pretty good when we're all said and done. It's another step in the process. So you can see here where we welded in new patch panels. It goes all the way up here, down to there, and wraps around on both sides of this fender. So these were entirely rotted out. Some plug welds all the way to there. Overall, I'm happy with how those turned out. A little bit a filler should be required right there. We're not going to put any filler there. We're going to go ahead and just lay the primer on there, smooth it out a little bit. Same thing over here. This could stand for some filler. It feels a little bit rough. I'm not a body guy, obviously. We're just going to another layer of primer, sand that down just a little bit, try to smooth that out. Use the primer basically as a filler, and we'll be happy with that. It's a tractor fender. I'm much more concerned with the structural integrity than the actual finish of that. And I think when we get a couple of coats on here, it'll actually look okay regardless. So I'm happy with how this fender turned out with that repair that we had to do. It took some time. I think it was worth it. And I think it'll be worth it when everything is complete and installed. All the hassle of welding and blowing through and grinding and welding and blowing through and grinding. Okay, it wasn't that bad. But yeah, it'll work out pretty nice when we're done. So I'm not going to make you watch me sand this down and wait for a few more weeks before I can put another coat of paint on here. But I'm just happy with where we're at on this project. We're making progress on every phase of this tractor rebuild. And so this is just part of it. And that will last me for decades to come. I'm happy with how this is going. And guys, even things don't end up exactly how you envision them in your mind, even if things aren't perfect, go out there and do something, right? Do something, show it on YouTube. People might make fun of you. They might, you know, people who can do better. Well, I invite you to go do better and show us all. And those who can't, or just kind of like me, well, the fun is in the process and in learning and in progressing. Catch you guys on the next video. Thanks for watching.